What is up, guys? We're back on the 17th from Mako that I got for free, and we are going to be doing the transom on this boat because I've decided to restore this boat as for myself. Originally I was just going to scrap it and keep the engine, but it turns out that this is actually a perfect boat for my needs and for what I want. So the only difference between this video and the other ones that I've done is I'm trying to get this thing done in one weekend, basically to show you guys that you guys can do something like this in a weekend and it doesn't take you months or years to do, and show you that it can be done. So Friday was yesterday, today is the 4th of July, it's Saturday. Friday it took me about 2.5 hours to get all the rigging out and the engine and all that, which is over here. Funny enough, the engine is actually brand new. I had no idea, but I took the cowling off and I was amazed at how clean it was. It looked like a brand new engine. So 2003, but it was actually remanufactured in 2007 with a brand new power head, brand new block. It looks brand new. I couldn't believe it. You can even see the harness, and the harness is brand new as well. So I got really lucky with that. We're going to use that for another project and get that running. But so for right now, this is what we have. We took everything off of the back of the transom, the brackets and all that. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and make a cut all the way across and get rid of all this. Once we get that cap off, we can see everything we got going on. We're going to see our transom, and you're going to see how bad this thing is, because it is extremely bad, which is actually good for us because it's going to be real easy. It's going to be real easy to clean up and get all that rotted wood out. I'm thinking about taking the transom out today, getting rid of all that crap, grinding all that wood out, and laminating a brand new sheet of glass in today, and actually gluing the queso composite board 1.5 inches to the transom today, so we can laminate tomorrow and it'll be done. So enough talking. Let's get to cutting, and let's get this thing going. All right, I made my lines for my cuts already. Come along here. We're gonna get this thing going. We're raising the transom up 25 inches. Is a 20-inch transom. I'm gonna raise it up to 25. We'll see how we do this. All right, let's cut this thing up. We got the cap off. It was really a pain. You need a big pry bar to take all this off, but here, just take a look at the transom and how rotted it is. All right, now I'm gonna come in and grind or cut off the sides, get all that glass out, and try to get all that wood out. So yeah, this transom has like a half transom. It doesn't go all the way to the actual whole bottom, as you can see. So it's only up here, down up to here, and then it cuts off. That's the skin of the transom. Let's lift that up. Alright, so now I'm coming in with my Milwaukee blade. I'm going to scrape up the whole transom here and try to get all that crap off. Alright, so the scraper tool really came in and cleaned this thing out. It's this guy in Milwaukee. Now we just got to come in and grind. I'm going to grind all this back. Grind all that back. So it is the next day. I have about 2.5 hours of work done so far, and now we're going to come in and we're going to grind out the whole transom, and we're going to also come in and knock down maybe 10 inches right up to these stringers here, grind all that out and off to the side, so we'll be ready to laminate when we put in our queso board. So now I'm going to get to that, and then we're going to put up our queso composite board. We're going to laminate. I'm going to show you how to do that, and hopefully we'll be done laminating by the end of the day. So let's get to it.
Huh?
Right? And the thing is that you have to really grind it down to the fresh glass before you do anything. You know, you can't do it over the old wood that's on. I'm gonna make a template of the transom, basically with either a transparent paper, like a plastic sheet, and I go marking it, and then I transfer that onto a sheet of 1708. It's a little bowyer resin, and I'm putting a little bit of silica because I want to make a little putty. And all I'm doing is I'm filling up these little holes here that somebody apparently filled out or made at one point, because when I laminate, I want this to be smooth. I don't want any gaps in there. So now that I got that going, I'm gonna come in here like this and just fill those holes like this. Remember, I cleaned the area already. Fill that. If there's any other little gaps like this, I want it to be, you know, somewhat smooth. Here, grab this side. Yeah. See, you come in here. So once we have this nice and wet, we'll come back and we'll fold this over. Ready, Pop? So this is why it's easier and why it's good to have a helping hand, because you can do stuff like this and not have to rush as much. So now I'm going to show you guys a trick. I mean, this is perfect. You really can't. This is as good as it's going to get right here. Nice layer of glass. This is a thick transom already. Like, this is already thick. And we really don't have to roll out much except over here. So watch this. You come up with one of these guys.
Okay, hold on. Let me show that from on a close-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bubble buster. They come in different sizes.
Don't move it. Don't move it. There you go. Okay. How many inches is this one?
This is a 6-inch one.
Also, they can get it at FGCI?
Everything at FGCI. So you come like this. And I still have to grind a little bit here on the wall, so I'm not worried about this. I'm worried about the corners here. You come in here like this and you get out any of those bubbles. And what this does is it allows you to push the extra resin. As you can see, there's pretty much no resin coming out of it. That means that we're good. Like, look how nice this is. It's a really good layup. And now we're gonna lay up, we're gonna bond our K-cell to this. We're gonna go 25 inches. So look, we gotta go from the center up here. I think this one piece of 4x8 inch and a half is about as much weight as one plywood piece. No? One plywood 3/4. There you go. All right, let's go put this in there. Let me cut a little bit more here. Hold on. Much better. See that? Just with that little bit, look how much more flush it's sitting. See that? Now, we're good. Now we put that in. There. What I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna come in every few inches. I'm not gonna go all the way through. And what that's gonna do is when the putty is going, the putty spread out against the board, it'll seep into these holes, and it has something even more to grab onto. Yeah, this is the most important part because, you know, even though the FCA putty gives you time, you basically have one shot, man, because then if not, it hardens, and then you gotta grind the transom and you gotta grind this K-cell board. Now, once everything's set, we're gonna place everything where we need it to be and kind of like organize ourselves so we know where everything is. bring up the queso board, literally trowel right on top of the queso board, trowel it out, right? And then we're gonna bed it. And this is why I use that MEK that's red, because you can mix it and you know when it's mixed. It turns nice and pink. The way I have it right now, and with the weather, you're looking at about 15 minutes. I'm gonna probably need some more. And that's okay. Trowel that out there. Ready? So far so good. We got this going pretty good.
Yeah. All right, this is tacky, ready to go?
Yep. All right. Go ahead. All right. Yeah, start bonding that in there, Pop. So you got like 15-20 minutes of work time with this stuff. What do you want to do first? Huh? There. I'm gonna start doing the top here. Boom. Alfred 1. Yeah, nice. There. But let's do the perfect.
Perfect fit.
You could see it getting, now it's sticking. Oh. All right, so it's the following day, and I like to leave the layup as you see it like this for at least a day, at least wait till the next day. I don't, just to give it a chance, you know, you don't want any warping or anything like that. So I think coming in the next day and just letting it lay up is probably the best bet. So let's go ahead and get this taken out and see how everything fared out. And we're gonna go ahead and start laminating to the actual whole sides and the whole bottom, and actually finish up this transom. We got a total of maybe 8 hours into this project so far, so I've been able to move on this project very, very fast, and I think today we'll be able to laminate everything up in just a matter of a few hours, and this transom will be done. So I think this is going to be the fastest job. Sure, I still need to do the cap and stuff like that, and you would need to do the cap yourself. But I have to keep the cap off for the rest of the project that I'm doing, so I'm probably going to start taking off the deck and all that as well. So let's take off all the clamps and see how everything fared. And there we have it. This thing came out awesome, really, really good. So now, like I said, I'm going to come in and sand all this stuff down. I'm going to take some of that foam that's there off, and I'm going to grind back a little further back over here. Take some of the more of that stringer off. Same over there. I've got to grind all that stuff out because we want to lay up all the way up to here, all the way up to there. So we'll have a nice first layer, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. You have to be careful with some of these old layups. You can see here there's voids here. I still got to grind here some. This is dry glass, see that? So you got to make sure you get through all that. So just a point to make. But this is what you want it to look like, all glassed, all cleaned up. Now I'm gonna fill some of these gaps with some putty with chop, and I'll show you how I do that. All right, I've gone in and I've laid in some chop strand mixed in with resin to kind of fill it the edges. See if you can see that there. Kind of reinforce the bottom there. Now we're gonna go just wet on wet right over it. I'm gonna have a hot coat to the K-sub board, and we're gonna lay up 5 layers, and that should be enough. Line this up first here. All right, so a little screw up, but hey, this is something that can happen to you, and more than likely it might happen to you if this is going to be like your first time doing it. So basically I had laid up the first 2 layers, no problems, and when I went to lay up the 3rd layer, the heat that was coming off of the first 2 layers cured the 3rd layer before we can get it fully wet out. So there's a couple spots that, like here, a couple up here, that we gotta grind out. Not a big deal, because we're not doing it wet on wet. We have to grind the entire glass so we can get the 4th and 5th layer to stick on. So once we do the 4th and 5th layer, I'm gonna come in and do some tabbing, individual tabbing on the whole thing, and the 4th and 5th layer are gonna come out up to here and here. So let's get that going. We're gonna start grinding out all these pockets like this, and just get to work. We laid up all the way up to out here, and then we laid up all the way to out here, obviously getting with larger and longer pieces. You can see there, came up pretty good. We did have to stop at 4 because, and I had to grind all that out and redo it, because I recommend if you're doing like a boatyard resin or a GP layup that stays tacky, then do 2 or 3 layers, wait till it cools down, come back, acetone, and keep laying up, because in the weather that we're in right now, it's just way too hot, and it just makes everything cure, and you just don't have time to roll everything out. So if you're using a vinyl ester resin or an isophthalic or a low profile resin like I am, you have to stop at like 3 or 2, grind when it cools down, come back, lay up, grind, lay up, but it is a higher spec resin. So I want to say that, could you do this in a weekend? If you don't have a splash roll like this, I would say that 2 weekends you can do it, because I took about 11 hours to get to this point where I'm at now. Yes, I still have to put in the splash wall, but we're not going to do that yet because I have to do the stringers. So I would say that the whole splash wall, tabbing, fairing would take probably about a full day. So realistically, could you do this in 2 weekends? Absolutely. If you know what you're doing, if you follow steps like in this video, and you have all the materials, and you don't need tons of experience, but you just got to know the steps, you can do this in 2 weekends. I hate seeing projects where they last for 6 months, 10 months. You just got to really hustle for 2 weeks. I think you could do it in two weekends. You can do it. You know, if you work, 5-6 hours a day, you could get it done for sure, and have all your materials. So as far as cost goes, you're looking at, for doing something like this yourself, with all the glass, with all the resin. I'm gonna put up here on the screen how much everything costs and breaks everything down. It's gonna be scrolling here. So you're looking at somewhere around 1,500. The prices keep going up for all this stuff. It's expensive. You're looking at somewhere between 15 to 2,000 depending on what you use. Wood is the cheapest. There's different options. This is the K-cell board. In my opinion, it's the easiest to work with, the 1.5 inch. And I mean, this transom is overkill for what I'm going to put on here. So I want to show you guys real quick what I got going on, because I'm doing the stringers next on the series. I already cut everything out, so you guys will see that on the next video. So I'm trying to make this like a weekend warrior series where I do everything in a weekend, and so far, like I said, I have maybe 11 hours into this, and I just want to give you guys the hope that you can do it too, because you really can save yourself a ton of money. So keep an eye out for those notifications, because I've been doing a lot of this stuff live. I went live today with the deck, taking everything out, and you can see what I'm actually doing live and how long it actually takes. So if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.